Chapter 3, A Fateful Meeting. At precisely 8 p.m., ensconced as I was in my cabin, surrounded by the gentle sway of the ship, a soft but persistent knock echoed through the cabin, beckoning me to the door. With haste I answered its call, and there, in the lit corridor, stood Smethels, a figure of impeccable service, holding a silver tray with an air of dignified etiquette. "Good evening, sir," he greeted me with a subtle nod. "Good evening, Smethels," I replied. Smethels, ever the perceptive steward, ventured into conversation. "If I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it?" I could feel his probing, his desire to unravel the enigma of my seclusion. "Yes, just a touch," I responded, concealing the true nature of my confinement behind a veil of composure. "Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing," Smethels mused. "Since you have not been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic?" I hesitated for a moment, my patience waning, eager for the purpose of his visit. "No, thank you. I can find my own way," I asserted, the urgency of my mission palpable. "Very well, here is your correspondence," Smethels conceded, his professionalism unwavering. He extended the silver tray. Upon this tray, a small note written on white card lay. As I grasped the paper, Smethels offered a parting insight. 2,200 souls on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. The note, a cryptic message, "Meet me by the electric camel now," and bore the signature PP. "Even if it is 1912 and the Titanic," Smethels continued, "the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still only have two hands." PP must be my contact, I surmised, and pondered within the silent recesses of my thoughts. "Thank you, Smethels, that will be all." With the conversation concluded, Smethels gracefully withdrew, leaving me with my thoughts and the task at hand. I reached for my trusty brown satchel, a faithful companion on countless missions, and my pocket watch. Resolute, I stepped out of my cabin, breaking the bonds of seclusion for the first time since embarking on this magnificent vessel. The electrical camel awaited, a cryptic reference that led my thoughts to the gymnasium. Navigating the wooden-panelled corridors, I ascended the grand staircase, a masterpiece of craftsmanship that bore witness to the Titanic's grandeur. Oak panelling, support columns and banisters, while golden letters spelled out ADEC and greeted me with a bronze cherub statue and an ornate wall clock, all beneath a magnificent wrought iron and glass dome. A man stood in a tan suit stood at the foot of the stairs, a figure both incongruous and intriguing. His introduction, "I'm Leyland Sackham Trask, metaphysical scribe and evangelist for the supernatural," was an anomaly in this realm of luxury and leisure. I extended a hand in response, a bridge between the mundane and the mystical. "I've been in London attending a conference on premonitions among the sensitive," Trask revealed, his words a glimpse into a world beyond the ordinary. "Sensitives?" I inquired, a curiosity born of disbelief. "Where are you from?" Trask, a man deeply rooted in the enigmatic, questioned in return. "You've heard of my institute, the Astral Bureau of Circulation, in Boston. The ABC is a place where mediums of impeccable character can commingle in harmony. This encounter was a divergence from the norm, a foray into the uncharted territory of the supernatural." "What's a sensitive?" I ventured, curiosity overcoming skepticism. "Sensitives, or psychics, possess increased powers of perception," Trask explained, a proponent of the extraordinary. "A gifted psychic can take a personal effect from a complete stranger and tell you all about them." Such claims tested the boundaries of reason, but I played the role of the receptive skeptic. "So are your predictions reliable?" I probed, seeking the essence of truth. "Well, there's a range, of course," Trask conceded, his conviction unwavering. "Given the right training, psychics can reveal information hidden to others." The conversation meandered further, and I found myself intrigued by the supernatural world's influence. "And what do you predict for the Titanic?" I inquired, searching for a link between the extraordinary and the impending voyage. Trask's response was cryptic. "This is a ship of destiny, which I think you know." Inwardly bemused, I decided to part ways with the enigmatic Trask, his presence an anomaly in the opulent confines. "I really must be going, Mr. Trask," I declared, a retreat from the mystic's realm. "It was good meeting you." As our paths diverged, I couldn't help but mutter to myself, what a fraud, what could I possibly need from him? Resuming my mission, I made my way to the gymnasium, a haven of health and exercise amidst the luxuries. The room revealed an array of exercise equipment, a tableau of physical well-being. Stationary bikes, rowing machines, punch bags, and weights stood ready to serve the passengers on their voyage of self-improvement. Among these intriguing contraptions, one stood out, the electric camel. It promised to mimic the gait of a real camel and offered health benefits shrouded in eccentricity. Good for the liver, they claimed. Yet amidst this modernity, a woman in grey silk and silver attire caught my eye. Her presence was commanding, her impatience tangible. "Glory be, it's about time," she hissed, a proclamation that heralded the commencement of a clandestine rendezvous. Clearly, this woman was no ordinary passenger. "You must be the one who sent me the message," I ventured, my voice steady despite the enigma that enveloped us. "Yes, I'm Pringle, Penny Pringle from the Bureau of Secret Service," she disclosed, her name a hint at the covert nature of her mission. "You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you?" "I apologize for my tardiness. It won't happen again," I assured her. Pringle, though still visibly perturbed, relented, allowing a semblance of understanding to emerge. "What a botch-up," she muttered, her frustration palpable. "Some idiot in the War Office booked me into second, not first class, and I've had a fine time of it too. The crew wouldn't let me in the first-class cabins at all, and it's just today I located you." However, our time for pleasantries was limited. The expression showed the weight of our mission bore on her, and I steered the conversation back to its purpose. "What did you want to tell me?" Pringle retrieved a photograph from her possession. "Look at this," she urged, her eyes locking onto mine as she held the photograph aloft. The image captured a man in a military uniform, his short curly hair and moustache providing the only context. "A German colonel named Zeitel," Pringle divulged. "Supposedly he's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington, and Mexico City, but we know better." Pringle stashed the photograph away, her gaze unwavering as she continued. 10 days ago, the Bureau received intelligence that Zeitel possesses a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. It was stolen in Paris just 2 months ago after being purchased by a highly placed member of His Majesty's government. "What's the Rubaiyat?" I inquired, my curiosity piqued. "The Rubaiyat is a book, a treasury of medieval Persian poetry, a particular passion of his lordship's," Pringle clarified. "Bugger, more art thieves," I lamented inwardly, feeling a twinge of disappointment at the prospect. "Persians, poetry. The German High Command clearly believes it's of utmost importance given their decision to have their top man smuggle it on board," I remarked with a tinge of frustration. "And what does Zeitel intend to do with it?" I probed further. "It's your responsibility to find out," Pringle asserted firmly. "His lordship is monitoring this closely, very closely indeed. I wouldn't recommend bungling this opportunity unless you fancy a career relegated to some dreary Midland back-office shuffling paperwork." I nodded, understanding the gravity of the task before me. "And Zeitel, is he travelling alone?" I inquired, hoping to glean more information. "No, he's accompanied by a protégé, a certain Hardelitz, if I recall correctly," Pringle divulged. "The two of them seem to have a penchant for spending considerable time at the Café Parisien, indulging in pastries." Pringle's gaze hardened as she pointed at me and issued a final directive. "Get into the wireless room. I don't care how you do it. Officer Morrow wouldn't grant me access. Your mission is to investigate whether Zeitel has sent or received any telegrams concerning the Rubaiyat. Utilize the cryptograph in your trunk to decipher the German codes. Employ the intelligence that God bestowed upon you. Observe people closely. Listen." She glanced around the gymnasium once more before concluding. "When you locate the Rubaiyat, knock on my door." "And in which cabin can I find you?" I inquired. "Cabin F-34. Utilize the second-class stairs for discreet access. You should be well prepared. Remember, this is your significant opportunity. Do not falter." Without another word, Pringle departed the gymnasium, leaving me to ponder my next move. I weighed my options carefully. The Rubaiyat can wait a bit longer, I decided, speaking to myself. I should go see Georgia. Exiting the gymnasium, I stepped out onto the boat deck, where the evening air bit with a cold edge. The sun's last vestiges clung to the western horizon, promising a swift onset of darkness. Above, the stars began to twinkle in the crystal-clear sky, while the sea lay eerily still, resembling a tranquil mill pond. Thoughts swirled through my mind as I strode aft toward the stern. What could Georgia possibly want after all these years of silence? I couldn't help but feel a nervous flutter deep within. It had been such a long time since I'd last seen her, and abruptly cutting off contact without explanation surely left her with unanswered questions. Would she be angry? It was a question that weighed heavily on my mind. Upon reaching the aft end of the boat deck, my eyes were drawn to a figure standing amidst the cold night, adorned in a blue dress, her form cloaked in a silk velvet coat, tip at the collar with white mink fur. Recognition struck me in an instant. "Excuse me," I uttered, my voice almost a whisper. Georgia rushed toward me, her excitement palpable. "You came after all this time," she exclaimed with fervour. "I'd heard you were on board. Where have you been?" "I was detained," I replied, opting for an explanation that wasn't entirely untrue. "It's been a long time, Georgia." 5 years, she confirmed, her tone filled with genuine warmth. "I'd have waited even longer to see you again. Why didn't you tell me where you'd gone?" "Dina had no idea, nor did Jack. My letters were all returned, just like you to reappear now with everything in such a wretched state. Please, you must help me." Her desperation was palpable, and I couldn't help but be taken aback by it. "Help you? What's happened?" I inquired, my confusion growing. "You've likely heard the rumors," Georgia admitted, "and I won't deny most of them. I can't." "Rumors?" I questioned, now thoroughly puzzled. "Even if the money's gone, I won't give the diamonds to Charles. Never," she declared firmly, mentioning her husband, Lord Charles Lambeth. I had heard of their marriage, but knew little about it, and it was apparent that all was not well. Georgia clasped the diamond necklace around her neck, cradling it delicately in her hands. "These are all that remains. My insurance for a new life without Charles or Sasha." "Sasha? I'm not familiar with him." "Who is Sasha?" I inquired. "Sasha Barbicon, the owner of the Barbicon Gallery," she responded, seemingly surprised that I hadn't heard the name. I wondered how she had become entangled with him, but refrained from voicing the question as Georgia glanced around nervously. "I mustn't speak further," she implored. "Keep it for me and don't let Charles know you have it. You can't fathom what he's like." In those fleeting moments she gently removed a dazzling diamond necklace from her neck. The necklace was a testament to the finest artistry in jewelry craftsmanship, a resplendent symphony of radiant gemstones and exquisite design. It boasted a dual row of diamonds, capturing and dancing with the ambient light at every turn. Yet what truly stole one's breath away were the 7 pear-shaped emerald drops, which graced the necklace with a delicate fringe. Each emerald was adorned with an intricate halo of brilliant cut diamonds, their facets aglow like stars in the night sky, and they swayed gently in my cradled hands. As Georgia swiftly departed, I stood alone on the aft boat deck, her invaluable necklace safely stowed in my satchel. With a silent commitment, I vowed to assist her to the best of my abilities when the opportunity arose. However, the urgency of my mission couldn't be ignored any longer, and I couldn't afford further distractions.